Hi everyone, hope everyone is well. I featured on my channel, War of 1812 British Solitaire journaling game from Worthington, and since I put it on the channel, I played it a few times, and I thought I'd video one of my playthroughs, really just with an idea that it would help people decide if it's something that they're interested in or not. It doesn't take long to play, so I don't normally do playthroughs of games. I normally do my after action reports, but this time I'm actually going to video myself playing the game and see how that works. So I'll get it all set up on the table, and we'll give it a try. I'm not going to do any of the journaling at the same time, I hasten to add. I'm just going to be simply playing through the game and talking about some of the game mechanics. So I'll get it set up and we'll make a start. So I've got the game set up here on the table. This is a player aid, and I downloaded the player aid and printed it out. You do get the same player aid actually in the book. You can cut it out if you want to, but I downloaded it using the link and printed it out. And I've got some counters on the map. I'll just go through those quite quickly. So for every American flag, I've got a counter, which in this case is an orange little hex counter. You could use coins or dice or whatever you want, and I've got a different coloured counters for the various lakes, and they start all with American control. I've got a counter here which I will place over the Northwest Indians if that is a result of during the game, and I do have a couple of coins to hold the book cover down. I have found that the book cover sort of curls up a little bit in the corners, so to keep it nice and flat, I've just put a couple of weights there. That's all they are for. I've got my 2 dice, and I've got a different coloured counter to track the turns and the APs as they go through. So what I will do in this playthrough, I am going to play through each turn. I'm going to do it quite quickly, just so you get an idea of how the game plays. I will be referring to the player aid from time to time. There's a method to the madness with the 2 coloured dice. I've got a dice that I use to roll for anything to do with the British, which is the red dice. And I've got a dice for anything to do for rolling for the American bot. And that's the reason there are 2 colours. Occasionally when playing this game previously, I forgot to so excited by using the action points and trying to stop the Americans that the American bot that I sometimes forgot to roll for them. So that's why I use 2 dice. It helps remind me to make sure that I roll for the American bot per turn. So with no further ado, I will make a start. How I'm going to record this video is, rather than do one long video for each of the covering all the turns, I'm going to split it up by the turn track. That will help me edit it. So this will appear on my YouTube channel as one long video, but actually I'm going to edit in sections. So I will make a start with turn number 1. Now, as normal, I will quickly add that if I do make any mistakes with the rules, those mistakes are mine, not the rules. This is one of the things of videoing a game. You tend to, you have to manage different things. So please forgive me if I do make any errors with the rules. So we're going to start with turn number 1. So we're going to move there. Now I get 1 AP as the British. And I think the first thing we're going to try and do is take control back of one of the lakes. So I'm going to roll the British dice. I get a 1. And that would be no effect. And I was trying to take that lake there. So no effect. Not a very good start, is it? So I'm going to move the red dice. Now I'm going to roll the green dice for the American bot. And we get a 6. So with a 6, place a marker on the Northwest Indian space. If not already in play. Well, it's not in play, so there we go. Now that will apply a -1 for the dice roll modifier for anything in the Northwest. And the Northwest is along there. British apply -1. Also attack the Northwest front. So this is the Northwest front, and this is a good example. So in the game, you're trying to move all, in my case, these orange counters all the way up to their key objectives, York and Montreal there. And we're going to roll for this one. And let's roll the green dice. So it normally needs a land advance results. It needs a 3 to 6 attack with advance. We get 2, so it does not. So that remains in place. So that's the end of the first turn. Okay, turn number 2. So it's the British first. And I've got 1 action point. And I'm going to try and take that lake again. So I'm going to roll my d6. I get 5. So a 5 is attacker wins, change control. So now the British have control of the lake. Then I'm going to roll for the American bot. And we get a 2. So it is a even turn. And then when you look at the results for the die roll, depends on what turn you're on, whether it's an odds turn or an evens turn. Well, that's a turn 2, so it's evens. Advance the American northwest front marker if they control the lake, which they do not. Otherwise, attack the northwest front and the British control of the lake. So let's attack that there first. We need a green dice. We get a 1, does not succeed. Let's see if they take control of the lake. We'll roll that again. I don't think I rolled it very well. A 3. And the lake, no effects. So in that turn, the American bot's unsuccessful. So turn number 3, again, we get one action point for the British. So we've got control of this lake here. No one's advanced, so let's try and take control of the lake there. And we get a 4, and attacker wins. So the control now goes to the British there. Then for the Americans, roll the dice. We get a 5, and we're on turn 3. Attack British on any lakes they control. So I've got control of those 2 lakes, so the American bot will try and take control back. So for this lake here, they get a 1, no effect. This lake here, they get a 3, no effect. So the British still have control of the 2 lakes. Turn number 4. The red dice. This is how I remind myself to do it in this particular order. So the red dice, so the British, we've got control of the 2 lakes. No one's advanced. So let's try and take control of this lake here. We're going to roll a dice. We get a 2, no effect. Now for the green dice, for the American bot, we get a 1. And it's an even turn. So even turn, attack next town on the northwest and Niagara fronts. Okay, so northwest is here, so they will attack the fort there. They get a 1, no luck. And the Niagara, which is this one here, this fort here, Port George. Dice roll just off camera, keep it on camera. A 4. And attacker wins and advances. And when you're attacking a fort, you actually get a -1. So that would become a 3, but that's all they need. So they now have captured, that fort. Okay, so that's the end of turn number 4. So we are just finished turn 4, so we're on turn 5 now. We've got 1 AP. Now we've got control of the 2 lakes, but the Americans have advanced into that fort. So let's try and push them back, and we can use that AP to do so. So we're going to roll the red dice. We get a 1. Absolutely useless. So completely ineffective. So now we roll the green dice for the Americans to see what they do in their bot turn. They get a 6. Now they've already got place a marker on the Indian space. They've already got that there, so we don't have to worry about that. And also attack the northwest front. So that will be this fort here. So let's see if they can capture that fort. A 4, which they do. So the fort has been captured. So turn number 6 now. Now I've got 1 AP, and I could either try and take the lake if I wanted to, or I could try and push them back. They're both units, or both sections here are pushing forward to York. So let's see if we can push them back out of that fort there. Well, actually, and this is one of the interesting things with this game. So because the Northwest Indians are in play with a -1 dice roll modifier to the northwest, actually makes more sense to attack, to try and push them out of Fort, I think that's Fort George. So let's roll the dice and try that. I get a 1. No use whatsoever, so completely ineffective. And that's the end of the British turn. So we're going to now do the American bot, and we get 6. Okay, so they've got the Indian space. They now will attack this next zone here. So let's roll the green dice. We get a 3. Because it's not a fort or anything like that, then they do attack. They do attack and they win. So they have moved up to there. So let's move the turn tracker. So now got more decisions to make as the British, because I really could do with that not being there. But of course it's got the -1. I could try and push them out of Fort George, but it's a fort, so it's a -1. So I think we're going to try and push them back out of here. Let's roll the red dice. We get 6. Brilliant. So they are pushed back. And it's the American pot turn. They get 3. And we are on an odds turn. So odds turn, advance the American Niagara and St. Lawrence front markers if they control Lake Ontario. And they do not control Lake Ontario. So otherwise they have to attack on the Niagara front. So let's do that first. So that'll be that attack there. They get 2, unsuccessful. And they attack on, that was Niagara, so St. Lawrence. So they attack here as well. 5, that was successful. And they will try and take the Lake Ontario here. So let's see if they can do that. 3, no effect. So then we're into the next British turn. Let's have a look. See, we're having control of the lakes really helps, and it does stop them gaining the victory points at the end of the game as well. We don't have control of that lake, so let's try and take that one. A 1. Absolutely useless. Do you know the amount of 1s I've already rolled on the British today? So no control of that. And let's do the green dice for the Americans. And a 6. So they will now attack the northwest front here. So let's see if they're successful. A 2. No. So that's the end of turn number 8. Okay, so next turn is turn number 9. Now, at turn number 9, we start to, as the British player, get 2 action points. So I've got 2 things that we can do. So let's try and take control of the lake as the first thing. So we'll roll our red dice. Get 2. Absolutely not. And let's try and push this counter here back 1. Let's roll the dice. We get 6. Excellent. So that's successful. So again, just to remind everyone, normally I'd need a 3 to win, but it's a 4, so it's a -1 on my dice roll modifier. But a 6 is more than enough, so push them back. And now it's the American dice. They get a 5. Attack British on any lakes they control. Well, the British do control 2 lakes, so these 2 here. So let's roll for this lake here first. They get a 4. Attacker wins. So ownership of that lake has now gone to the Americans. And this lake here, that's off camera, so let's roll it again. 3. No effect. So the British retain control of this lake but have lost this lake here. So turn number 10. We've got 2 action points again, so let's try and take control of all the lakes. So let's roll a dice for this one. A 4. Excellent. We need a 4. Yeah, we need a 4. And then this lake here. I'm going to roll that again. I think it was a bad roll. A 3. So unsuccessful. And the American dice. They get a 5, and it is an evens turn. So attack British on any lakes they control. So they have control of these 2. Let's see if the Americans can take them back again. A 4, they do for this one. And the top one, a 3, unsuccessful. So, turn number 11 next. And let's do the British. We got 2 action points. So, let's try and take the lakes. Let's take this one. 3, unsuccessful. And this one here. Roll that again. 1, unsuccessful. So no, British not being able to take control of the lakes. And then the green dice for the Americans, a 4. Attack on all fronts. So it's the first time we've had this die roll. So this is why I like to use different coloured counters for the different gameplay elements. So on this one, I know I've just got a roll for the orange counters there, but not the Indians. So this one here. So they get 6. Excellent. So they move up. This one here. They get 6. Excellent. This one here. They get 6. And this one here. Let's see if it's a 6 again. A 2. No. So now it's the British. I've got 2 action points now. And we have only control of 1 lake. And the American counters are moving towards their objectives. Let's see if we can push them back. Let's see if we can push this one back. The reason I'm choosing this one is there's no dice roll modifiers for that particular zone. So it's a 1 dice, a 3, and attacker wins. So that was with that dice roll. So it's a good job I chose that particular one. And let's try and take control of this lake here. A 2, so no effect. Now it's the American dice roll. Just going to tidy up a little bit. I get 5. Attack British on any lakes. So the British do have control of this lake here. Let's see if they get it. A 4. Attacker wins. So the lake. So all the lakes now are in charge of the Americans at the end of turn number 12. Okay, so we are now turn number 13. Unlucky for some. Let's see if it's unlucky for me as the player or the American bot. So we've got 2 action points. So let's do the reds. And we've got no control over the lakes, which is not good. So let's try and take 2 lakes. Let's try and take this one and this one here. So the first one, get 5. And the lake here, get 2, so we don't. Now it's the American bot. So let's roll the dice for the Americans. We get a 1 and it's on turn number 10, so it's the evens turn. Okay, so even attack next town on the northwest and Niagara front. So northwest is here, so they'll try and attack London. They get 1, so unsuccessful. And then Niagara, which will be this one here, before they get 6, which they take. So turn number 14, still 2 APs. So I think we're going to try and take control of this lake. Let's do that. We get a 2, so unsuccessful. And let's try and take that lake there as well. A 1, unsuccessful. And the American bot. A 2. Okay, so it's a turn number 11, so it's an odds turn. Attack fronts where American markers are adjacent or in American flag towns. So I take this as basically everyone's going to attack. And let's start with here. So attacking London, again, 6. Success. And Port Dover here for that one. No. And then for this one here. No. And then finally for this one up here on the northeast front. 3. Which is, he says, that is a port with an anchor, but I'm sure they have control of the lake, so there we go. Turn 15 next. I've got 2 APs. This counter here's taken London. Let's try and take London back for the British. 3. Normally that would be successful, but the -1 for the Northwest Indians, so that would make it a 2, which would be a no-win. And then the second AP I'm going to use to try and take the lake. A 2, No, not taking the lake. So now it's the American dice. And let's see what they get. A 3. So it is an odds turn number, not turn number 15, so it's odds. And it was a 3, so odds. Now if they control the lake, which they do not, so they will attack here. Yep, they'll attack that port there. Let's see if they're successful. 1, no. And they'll attack here. Yes. Success for them. And then turn 16, 2 AP still. So let's see if we can push that one back again out of London. 3. Normally that would be a success, but because of the Indians it's not. And let's try and take that lake there. No. Absolutely useless. So that's the end of turn number 16. So now we're on turn 17. Now for the last from 17 to 20 on the American bot action, if we get a 6, peace occurs and we basically work out the victory points and the game ends. But before we do that, we've got 3 action points to spend as the British. So let's spend them, try and push them out of the American bot out of London. 6, success. Let's try and take control of the lake. 6. Now we're going to get all the 6s for the British. And now I've said it, I'll jinx it, of course. And let's try and take that lake there. That's uncanny. I'm going to do it again. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to live with that. I think I've ever rolled 4 6s in a row. So now let's roll for the American bot. And if we get a 6 for the American bot, then it's the end of the game. We get a 1. And it's turn number 17. So it's an odds turn. Attack next town on the northeast and St. Lawrence fronts. So northeast is right over here. Let's see if they can take the fort. 3, which they do not. And what was the other one? Sorry. Niagara front. What's this one here? See if they can take the port. A 4, which is success. So there we go. Okay, turn number 18. I've got 3 action points as the British. So let's try. We've got control of all the lakes. Let's try and just push everything back. Let's try and push. No, even Stevens really. Let's try and push Port Dover. So 1 dice. No. Let's try and push this one here. No, because of the Indian -1. And let's try and push Kingston there. No. No use at all in that particular turn. So let's roll for the. Nearly forgot to roll for the Americans then. A 5. Attack British on any lakes they control. Well, they control all 3 lakes, so let's do this one. 5. Control's gone back to the Americans. Control's gone back to the Americans. And the last lake, control's got back to the Americans. Goodness. So turn number 19. Let's see if we've got 3 action points. Let's try and take all 3 lakes. So this lake here. 3 is no effect. This lake here. 6, back with the British. And this lake here, 2, no effect. Then roll for the Americans. A 6. So that will signify the end of the game. So I'm just going to pause for a second and work out the victory points. We've got 2 victory points there. Got 3 here, so that's 5. Got 1 there, so that's 6. And 1 there, so that makes 7. Now we get 2 for the Northwest Indians, so that makes 9. And 2 for every lake they control. Well, they control that one, so it makes 11. That one there, which makes 13. So 13 victory points. According to this, if I've added up correctly, is a draw. The historical result: Canada will eventually become an independent nation from Great Britain. Now there was one thing I didn't do in that particular playthrough. I didn't use any action points to use the British regulars, which basically gives a reroll in certain circumstances. Didn't do that, but everything else kind of gives you a sort of a flavour, I suppose, of how quickly the game plays. It doesn't take very long to play at all, and the sort of things that happen during the game. Some of the dice, as you could tell, didn't go in favour for either side at times, and at times also both sides as well. So I'll just finish with some concluding thoughts to that playthrough. Now, as you could see from that playthrough, it doesn't take long to play through War of 1812. I think it's about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and I probably played it a little slower than I would do normally. Now, if you're journaling at the same time, so you're writing some account of the battles and what's happening, it probably take a lot longer, depending on how you like to journal out your games. I have not done that yet. I have simply played it through the mechanics of the game. I haven't done any of this level of journaling or writing anything in the book. It's completely blank still. I haven't written anything yet. I may do. I've got some thoughts on that, but I want to play through the game a few more times. But hopefully that gives you some understanding of how the game plays. It is a very low complexity game. Now, they also do a War of 1812 travel game, a box game. Now, I don't have that, so I don't know how this compares. If you do have that, I'd be super interested to hear, is this the same game as that? I'm not sure it is. I think in that game, the British are played by a bot and you're playing the Americans. And this game is the other way around. But I'd love to hear, or if there are some mechanics that the two games share, I'd love to hear some thoughts on that. If you are interested in a journaling solitaire game, please leave a comment in the comment section. It's quite a new thing for the wargaming hobby. So I'm interested as to what people think. If you've played it, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And especially if you've played it and had a go at writing an account or anything in the journal sections, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well. I certainly will play through it a couple more times. Now, there are 2 other games in the series, and I believe they all have different mechanics. So again, if you've played any of those, please leave a comment in the comment section. And thanks a lot for watching, as always, and take care. Thank you.